Hello and welcome to Be Powerful with Liz and Lee. It's a new day and we're so glad you're here.
So you can expect to hear candid conversations on what it means to be powerful. Live authentically, live in the midst of ups and downs, productively, and above all else, joyfully.
We are so thankful for you, our community of listeners, and we hope you enjoy today's show. Hi, Liz.
Hi, Lee.
And hello to Erin McDermott. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you for being here. We just love you so much. And we are glad that you are joining us today on just, for a
conversation.
Nice little conversation.
Cannot wait.
Okay, let's tell everybody who you are in case they didn't know. The amazing Erin McDermott, jewelry owner. And you've been in business for 17 years, I just saw.
It has been a long time when I think about it now. Yes, 17 years. I mean, I think probably even the beginning, starting in high school. And I think with any creative business, you always kind of start early on.
You started in high school?
Oh, yeah. I was making jewelry for friends in high school.
Wow.
I'll have to tell you about my high school adventures.
Let's hear it.
Oh, okay. So let's see. High school. So my grandmother lived in New Jersey, about 20 minutes from New York City.
Okay.
And I would visit her in high school and I would take the bus, the 192 bus from her house into Port Authority by myself.
No
9th
way.
grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, little backpack on my back and get off the bus in Port Authority and just walk around the fashion district and
really
pick up
neat.
beads and findings and materials, string, anything that I could find.
Yes.
Anything creative. And I would spend the entire day there. And then I would take the bus back to New Jersey and she would pick me up from the bus stop. And that's kind of how it all started. Looking back now, I'm like, how in the world did my parents let me do that? But my parents are funny. I mean, they went to Woodstock together.
Mm-hmm.
They are free spirits.
Really?
Oh yeah, they are free spirits. I think
That's how they let you do it.
Yeah, this was normal to them.
Right.
It was like, all right, Erin, what did you find? What are you gonna make with it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So I would find everything, and then I would put together. I mean, at that time it was belts and bags and necklaces. And
Yeah, give me a time frame. What year?
Okay, so this was 11th grade, and I'm 39 now. So this was a while ago.
Yeah.
And I would put together just pieces of jewelry.
So solidly in the 90s or yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I loved it. And I went all the time. And especially in the summers. It was fun.
I love that.
Yes.
So was your grandmother an inspiration and an artist in that way too? Would anybody do that in
I
your
would
family?
say probably more my parents, my mom and dad. I mean, my dad was in a band and my mom has always been kind of nutty, always creative. She just wrote a little cookbook. She's a French teacher. And I think that it's just kind of been woven in the fabric of our family. And just that little bursts of creativity. We're always jumping around. What's going to be next? What's going to hit? And so for me, that was very normal. I wasn't a very studious person or student. I didn't read a lot, but I love listening to music. I loved being creative. I loved just anything that I could get my hands involved with. That was where I felt the most comfortable.
That's incredible that as a high schooler, you were able to.
Well, you had a family that supported it because that's who they were.
Totally.
Gosh,
Totally.
so that's
it.
really a fortunate situation for you to grow up in.
Yes.
So you finding your self-expression was part of the family. That was just part of what you did in your family, right?
It absolutely was. And I think also my sister was 2 years older.
Okay.
And she was the French student, and she always had good grades and scholarship to college. And
Was she older?
Yes.
This sounds so familiar.
I need to know something. Was she how much older than
She was 2 years older.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And she kind of took that role as that daughter.
She's the one
First
that does
child,
the right
big
things,
sister.
and you're the ones that does the things.
Oh, absolutely.
I
And
relate.
I was able to do the things.
Right.
You relate. And I didn't
Nobody give you any trouble about it.
Totally. I didn't have the focus on me. I didn't have, and
Yeah.
I mean, looking back, like I always played sports, but I was always on the bench. My mom would wait. In the
Always
car.
on the bench.
My mom would wait
She's
in
a
the
bench
car
warmer.
after the sports games and be like, just let me know when your game is done.
Yeah.
She wouldn't even come in. To, like, watch a
Because
basketball
you're just going to
game.
be on the bench, and I'll be over here,
Totally.
like,
Oh,
making
yes.
jewelry on the
Always.
back seat.
Always. Oh my gosh. Y'all, this was the time that Beanie Babies were popular.
Yes.
And I would buy Beanie Babies and resell them. And like,
Oh,
meet
that's
people
awesome.
in parking lots. I mean, it was wide open. And I think my parents.
Okay, wait a minute.
yes.
Time out. Back up.
Yeah.
You bought Beanie Babies,
Oh,
and you
sure.
resell.
I'd resell
Did
them.
you resell them at their retail price,
Oh,
or did
no,
you
I
up
would
it?
mark
She's
up.
no fool.
Yeah, baby.
Absolutely. I
This
would
is in your
tell my
blood.
mom and my dad, I'd be like, do you mind taking me to the 7-Eleven in Newport News? I'm going to meet someone there who's really looking for the special dolphin. And they just didn't even think twice about it. That's just selling lemonade. I mean, the lemonade stands are
Right.
always,
Sure.
So you were always in business.
Always an
Like you grew
entrepreneur.
up like in business in high school. Bam.
Oh, absolutely.
Like this is all about I'm going to be creative and I'm going to sell it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wow.
And I really think it was just now when I think back, I guess it's if you don't have that support and you don't have that creativity, but I just didn't know, or if you didn't have that support, I just didn't know any other way.
Right.
Like for me, that
Right.
was just seemed normal
Mhm.
for me. And now I think, oh my gosh, yeah, walking around Manhattan when I was
No kidding.
15,
15
You
years
live there.
old.
Your parents live there.
Yes.
It wasn't out of the
I don't
norm.
know. I
My
think it's
dad
so
was
cool.
playing guitar in
Sure.
subway stations there. Like
Was
in
he really?
yeah. I mean,
That's
anything
incredible.
they could do and they dated in high school. And I think that
God,
I've
this
just
is so cool.
and I've seen them grow and evolve. I mean,
Mhm.
they've been, married for maybe 46 years, and they've always shown me that you can be happy so many different ways.
Love
Yeah.
And that's what
I
is
love that.
really cool about it. I think that there were never
How do they show you? Tell me about that. Because I mean, aren't we all interested in people that can be married and happy
Totally.
forever and ever, amen, and how they do
Yes.
that?
I mean, I really think like looking, and they're a huge inspiration to me, but I think that they really let one another be themselves. And they
That's key.
always, I mean, like I said, my mom's a little nutty. She's the French teacher. And my dad just supported her.
Supported
And they
her.
supported one another. And any ideas, I mean, whether it be something spontaneous or something that was just a little wild that most people would just never think of, they just said, let's do it. And I think that when you have that type of enthusiasm and that curiosity and just that mindset of growth, that constant growth, whatever it's going to be, it's fun and it's inspiring. And we really learn to just kind of work just from our intuition and what felt good.
Wow.
And I love that. So my mom is a French teacher. And I think one way that she's influenced me is in the summers, we always went to France. She had 3 months off, and my dad would come visit us, 2 or 3 times because he stayed behind and he was working. And it was this tiny little town in France called Espet, and it was beautiful. It's
What
right
was
on
it
the
near?
Espet. Well, it's near the border of Spain.
Okay.
Oh,
And
wow.
so it's only
Okay.
about 30 miles from Spain. I mean, it was rustic, but it was
Okay.
beautiful. It's on the foot of the Pyrenees Mountains. So we would
Oh, wow.
play in the Gers, which was the stream, the mountain stream going down.
Oh.
We'd play there in the mountain water is so beautiful and crisp. We would bathe in the mountain stream of the Pyrenees Mountains, and we would paint on rocks. We would milk cows in the morning.
Whoa.
My sister and I woke up. First thing we would do is go milk cows, and we would dare one another to drink the milk. It's warm and it like actually tastes like a cow. Oh, that's so gross. But it was so much fun.
That's
We'd play on
hilarious.
the hail bales. I mean,
What a
we would
memory.
make like lavender sachets, and it was
So you didn't go to a regular camp. This
No.
was your life.
Later on, we went to like more, more towards middle school, we went to, camps, but really like ages 4 to 12, every single summer we went. And it
that
was,
sounds like
oh my
heaven.
gosh, going to the bakeries. And my mom spoke fluent French. So for
Right.
her,
Did
it
you?
was- oh gosh, Liz, I received the worst grade in the French class. I would sit there and read fashion magazines and have the French book
hilarious.
in front of my magazines, and she would just walk by me and pinch me on the shoulder. And
I love
mean,
it.
the worst grade. And so, but like I said, my sister, she's got
it down.
Somebody's got it.
You didn't need
got
to.
it.
Someone was going to take care of
it.
it.
Sounds like your parents didn't really mind anyway.
Oh, they were kind of like, Erin, like, let's just hope
she'll do something
one
else.
Day. Like, yes, yeah, they were doing. So, yes, so the summers were great and just totally, I think, showed me as far as just being in the moment, and whether it was, cooking for a really great meal that we would all gather. We had a lot of friends there too, and someone was always in charge of the tart or the cheeses or the breads. I mean, just getting together with
I want to be in your
friends.
family.
It was incredible, and it was nothing fancy. It really wasn't.
Right.
It wasn't fancy. It was just everyone was really allowed to explore like what made them happy, and that was great. So that was kind of the starting off point. And I would say probably not a traditional way to grow up.
Do you think you've brought this into your, modern 2022 life? Is your family, do you bring your children up like this?
I mean, I hope so. We've definitely shared so many elements from this, and especially with my husband. I mean, he grew up, I would say, a much more traditional way.
Is he from Charlotte?
So he is not. His dad was doctor in the Army, so he grew up in so many different
all over
places.
The world.
Yes, but his family's in Knoxville now.
Okay.
But he has loved like joining this whole, like learning about this.
Yeah.
And he's always up for anything, but it's just, I think, a little bit different. And as a mom, absolutely. I think back, like my daughter my oldest is 7, and she's very creative. Knowing that and knowing her creativity and knowing the way her
might work for
brain works, and also knowing me and the challenges I've had learning, oh my gosh, it's like I can totally appreciate and teach her about the world and about learning and about just confidence and other things to, really it's not all about grades. It's not all about school.
Right.
There are so many different things that can make you a full person and a whole self and to bring you confidence. So I'm so proud of her and the way she's absorbed it. And yeah, the other two are just wild cards. I think they're going to be going to New York when they're probably in 5th grade.
Do they get to see your parents? I mean,
oh yeah, yes, they get to see my parents.
I would say throw them at your parents and let them go to the south of France every year.
Absolutely, yes.
I love knowing that background about you, and I mean, it makes so much sense to see the things that you create now and when that started. So then after. You did you go to UVA, or did your husband, is that where y'all met?
UVA, and we met, and
you got into UVA. You didn't do that badly.
Oh my
God.
It was easier back then, though. It was easier. I was in state. It was easier.
Yeah.
But yes, we met in Charlottesville. This will probably not come as any surprise to you. Brian and I had very different college paths. He played football there.
Oh, wow.
And I mean,
he was not a bench warmer.
No, he played football there. Yes.
And he was not weaving things in the car.
No.
Right.
And guess where we met? I was, of course, waiting tables in my tie-dye t-shirt and corduroy apron at Melon Mushroom.
Oh my God. I love that.
That's awesome.
And he walked into the restaurant and, asked me out, and we kind of, so
that was it?
We met.
Wow.
Yes. I mean, I was very surprised because I honestly had never been to a football game.
Right. Because it wouldn't interest you.
No.
Right.
I wouldn't even understand it. I don't even ask him if we watch football now.
Right.
I'm like, can you explain this to me one day? But I was like very confused when, I was like, who is this person? And our first date, and again, like if you've met Brian before, he's structured and he's just got it together. He's got like a plan. He's always just he's the one in our relationship that kind of keeps the goals in mind. Keeps moving the ball. Yeah. And I can
but he also allows you to be yourself and
free
be
as a bird.
Right.
He's like, I feel about as free as a bird as anyone.
That's
could feel.
Incredible.
Yes. So the first date, we went out to an Italian restaurant, and in the middle of the date, I said, my phone started ringing. And I said, oh my gosh, I've got to grab this, like the old school cell phones.
Flip it open.
Flipped it open. And apparently I had forgotten, no surprise, but that I was supposed to take someone's shift, someone's
at Melon Mushroom.
So in the middle of the day, I said, Brian, I'm so sorry. I totally forgot I'm supposed to work tonight. And he said, are you kidding me? Like right now?
Right now?
And I said, do you mind dropping me back off? Like, I'd love to go out with you again. We'll have to do this. So he was so confused, right? And he dropped me back off and he said, what time do you think you'll get off? I was like, probably around, I don't know, maybe 10 o'clock. Let's touch base then. So I called at 10 and I picked up. I said, I just finished, but I have to fold all these pizza boxes for the lunch shift the next day. We have to have about 200 pizza boxes ready to go to the lunch.
He came in and did it with you.
Listen to this. He said, Erin, how long is this going to take? I said, probably about 2 hours, 2-3
oh,
hours.
Gosh.
Jeez.
About 20 minutes later, I look up and he has the entire football team
What?
in and helped
Oh my God, I
fold
just got
I did
those
too.
boxes
What?
with me. Oh my gosh, we had those boxes folded in
Oh my
about
God,
3.5
that was the
minutes.
cutest thing I've ever heard.
And that is just the person he is. I mean, he's like,
and you went, and yes, if you were going to ask me to marry you, I will.
Now would be the time.
I'm in. I do.
Wow.
Yes. So it was really
Wow.
cool. And that's even to this day, like I will pop those things on him all the time. And he's like, I'm going to let you do
I want to meet your husband.
How can I help?
Yeah.
If I can't help, you just let me know
Right.
what you need in the back end. And, and that's like, that's freeing. And I feel like I try to do that with him as well, but in such a different way.
Sure.
Too.
So you all are good companions. How long have you been married?
Match. We've been married for 11 years.
Perfect.
Yeah. So
Nice.
we're a good team.
Yeah.
But it's funny. Yeah. It's not easy. I wouldn't say it's easy to be living with me all the
not.
time.
It's not easy to do
None
with
of us are
anybody.
easy.
But I mean,
It
as long as you
is.
love and accept and allow,
Yes.
which you guys really
Yes.
do.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe there should be vows in weddings: love and accept and allow.
That's it. I
You know?
love that. I love that. And I think it is a lot about just letting the person be that person. And of course there are things that frustrate us about one another.
Yeah.
But it's not like we're ever
They're
trying
not
to
deal
change.
breakers.
Yes, we're never trying to change the other
Right.
person. And I think what's also great is throughout like everything we've learned, I really do feel like as far as happiness goes, I know that we can add to one another's happiness, but
Right.
if something's happening, it's going to be up to me a lot of times to fix it. And even the other day I said, Brian, I've got to sit down and talk with you. There's something on my mind about the kids. It might just be me
Sure.
internalizing it. And
Right.
if it's me, you let me know it's me. I can either talk to you or I can talk to a therapist or something. But I'm going to tell you about it. And this is what I'm thinking. And just let me know what your thoughts are about this, you know? And he'll say, for this one, he said, I think that it's probably you. Like, I think you are maybe internalizing so much. I'm here to listen.
And you can trust
If you
that.
wanna yes.
That's
and I
wonderful.
can trust it. But I also know that if I go to him and say, I'm just going crazy about this and this
Yeah.
and this and this and this.
Right.
It's like, let's not rope everyone into this, Erin. You
Yeah.
know, I've got a lot going on in my mind. So it's nice that
How we all
that
need
I
somebody who can
know.
go and
No
say,
kidding.
I'm
Losing my
either
mind.
losing my mind or there's a real issue.
Or there's a real
and somebody
issue.
to really help you, especially if it's your partner.
Exactly.
Know which is which.
Yes.
Right.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah. But I feel
That's-
like y'all are like that too, which is so nice to also hear.
We are,
on
but
the
it took a
podcast.
lot
Mhm.
of trial and error
Right.
to find each other. I mean, and I
Yeah.
think that maybe you being so fortunate to be raised in a
Yeah.
family that was just the way of the world,
The way the world
allowed,
yes.
and so you're not ever going to fall for a guy
Mhm.
that is not
do it,
exactly
yes.
like that, or he didn't have to be like that. All he had to do is
Yes.
allow you to be you.
That's it.
Right.
That's it.
When you
Yes.
go
Right.
into it
Yeah.
being exactly who you are
Yes.
instead of that facade of who you are in order to please somebody else or what you think you should be. I think that's
So people think
incredible
there's some
place to start.
magical, thing to a
Yeah.
relationship getting
Yeah.
along, and it's really
Mm-hmm.
people being themselves and and noticing that this person you're with is allowing you when you start to feel like, oh, I need to be somebody else or put on this
Absolutely.
amazing, presence.
right.
But you never even had that as a consideration because you were brought up so differently from I would think a lot of people, and
Right.
how lucky that is.
Well, and that you've showed that to your
Definitely.
children that, your story about your daughter,
Mhm.
you now really see who she is exactly for herself
Right.
and can just
Yes.
help her flourish
Right.
exactly how she is.
Right.
Absolutely. And also, I mean, I definitely have ADD. I've known it since high school. And in a lot of ways, I feel like that's kind of a superpower. Like
Uh-huh.
even
Too.
going
I love that.
into the jewelry in my life, like as a mom and as a wife and with my friends. I mean, these stories that I'm telling you, they're not going to be surprised at all to hear any of that. That's just the way I operate the world. But when it comes to jewelry and my business, I am able to lock in and find a sense of calm and peace and almost over focus on it. And that has brought, I think, a little bit of balance to the personality, because I'm able to kind of transition from that haphazard, frenzied, scattered person.
But don't you? I mean, I'm listening to you, but what I'm seeing is you say you can really focus in, maybe hyper focus, but you're actually doing that thing that keeps you alive, like that passion. That so it's how I would never think it's an over focus. I would think it's just you hone in on who you are, and then all the other things fall away, right?
Absolutely.
Which is why you're so good at what you do.
Absolutely. That's it. When I am there in the studio, it's like I am just moving through this place of just calmness, and I'm getting energy, and I'm with my business, and I think of my business as my best friend. I mean, we're such good buddies. We grew up together. I mean, we've been together since the days in New York.
Right.
And,
taking the bus to grandma's.
Totally. And it's always shown up for me. And I've shown up for the business. And it's like when I'm there with it, we really have a nice relationship with one another.
You consider it sort of a different entity. You have a relationship with your business, and you just can't wait to be with that business.
Yes. It's another child or a mistress or whatever. Whatever it is. That's. I mean, I'm like escaping to it sometimes. Like it feels good to be there, and it's always there to open me up. And yes, my business and I, we have struggles, or we have, at times of up, but it comforts me, and it's there for it.
So what would you tell people that are not enjoying their business? I mean,
that's a good question. I mean, I think that to maybe look at it in a different way, to look at it in
or
a
maybe
way
change businesses.
Yes, or change businesses.
If you're really dreading to go to work, or if you are going, oh my gosh, I can't wait to retire, you know.
Yes.
I always look at people and go, what? You're 10 years younger than me, and you're retiring. What are you going to do now?
Yes.
I mean, my business is my baby. I always call it my baby.
Yeah.
But in the same way, the way you talk about it, I feel like there's such a healthy relationship with it, where in a sense, it probably does define who you are, but you don't let it take over. I mean, you have a husband, you have 3 children. You have to run the other parts of your life, but also let it be a place that you can move in and out of.
Absolutely. And that has taken a lot of work. I mean, that really has.
Especially with 3 children.
Oh my gosh. And there have been times, and I'm not going to lie, I mean, there have been times where when the kids are going crazy that I'll say, I'm going to go do something in the studio really quickly just to get out of the chaos. Just to see, oh my gosh,
time
you're
out
screaming.
That's time out for me.
I got to go work.
Right.
I forgot. Exactly. And I realized that. I mean, I've worked with a life coach for a long time, and she's helped me like, okay, Erin, you can't always use it as an escape. You've also got to face,
reality,
what you've got going on here, and that's helped.
Can you tell our listeners, viewers, what's the difference in your life and a life coach and a therapist? I think people want to know that.
Great question.
Okay. So the life coach, I've been working with an incredible woman. Her name's Pat Rennan. Actually,
I know Pat so well.
She's our client. She's great.
Pat. And I asked her that. I was
Pat.
All right. Hey, Pat. What is the difference? And she kind of said it, I guess, and I mean, not quoting her, but the way that I processed it was a coach is going to help you take the steps to get out of whatever you're in, or if I approach her with a problem or something that I want to do, it's what are the next steps to get there? If I'm wanting to do a specific show or a new line of jewelry or a new extension to my line, it's all right, Erin. So who do we have to call? When is this email going to be done? What do you see it looking like?
That almost sounds like an agent.
Yes. I mean, it really is. And it helps me so that when after our conversation, I have a plan. And I have a plan. I see the end goal. I see what I'd like it to look like at the end. And it's not just in my mind. I think I get it out. And she's such a great sounding board where she gives me advice, but she really does help plan. I mean, the last conversation was over the phone last Tuesday. I said, do you mind if I just go on a walk and you write down everything I'm saying right now?
It's a great idea.
And
because I don't want to write it down. That's a great idea.
And can we structure it in a way so that afterwards you'll send this back to me and I'll actually know, okay, this is what needs to be done this week, or this
Wow.
is what needs to be. And not only about business, but just in life,
Anything.
relationships or anything I'm struggling with. Now, as far as a therapist goes, I guess, and I haven't ever seen a therapist, so I'm not exactly sure. Or I don't even know if I should say that. I mean,
No,
I
that's
don't want
fine.
to sound like bad or anything.
I mean,
No,
honestly,
not at all.
that's fine.
Okay.
I actually don't
Yes.
think you would need one. The way you were brought up, you have no expectations. They're all like, yes, be yourself. I'm not sure you have any issues.
Gosh,
You
no,
know?
I know. But I think as a therapist, it's like a therapist maybe would help you heal things.
Sure.
Certain
We all have
situations in the
things.
past that prevent
When they
you
start to
from
get
going
in your
through.
way,
Yes.
then that's what you do.
Yes.
But it
Yes.
sounds like you're doing a really good
Well,
job.
no, I mean, but I do, but I work really, like, I mean, it is work. And I think
Yeah.
that as far as even with my relationship with Brian and with my business, I mean, I am ready to get in there, get messy, get murky,
Yeah.
ask each other the hard questions. I mean,
You're not afraid.
it really, oh my gosh. And if we're not battling at times, I feel like we're not growing. Like there is sometimes
Exactly.
Brian's very even keeled, and there are
Uh-huh.
sometimes that I'll just come at him, and he's like, "I feel like you're kind of looking for a fight," and
Yeah.
I am. Like I want some energy.
You
Like, I'm
need
ready
some.
to go.
You need some conflict.
Yes.
You've got to see where are those boundaries, where are those limits, where
Absolutely.
can I push? Where do you push each other? Where we can go to
Mhm.
that next place?
Yeah, I'm like, I am not. I do not want to stay in a relationship that's just going to be just complacent,
Oh,
and
God.
good, and we're just kind of moving through the world together and showing up at events. I'm like, I need
Ugh.
passion.
Yes.
I need
love that.
Yeah.
I think seeing you from the outside too as a successful, beautiful, strong woman who
Thank
has a
you.
business and 3 kids, we can all look certain ways to other people. And to know that there's that real humanity about who you are, I think is really empowering to share with
too.
other people.
Thank you.
That it's not just easy.
No,
Y'all
it's,
don't just look like
and-
Ken and Barbie,
and-
even
No,
though you
not
do.
easy.
and that you're
Oh
not
my
looking for the easy
gosh.
button, right?
Oh
Right.
my gosh, no, and
Yeah.
not to mention, I mean, easy. So, I mean, we are up at 4:30 in the morning working. I mean, we
Right.
work when the kids go to bed. It is a
Wow.
lot of work, and it's a lot of times that, and I enjoy the work. That's why, I
Sure.
mean, going back to your question, Liz, like if you are in a relationship with your business that really you're not seeing eye to eye,
Right.
I mean, it's going to be painful because you're going to spend a lot of your life doing it
Right.
and trying to change it. And I enjoy
Or just going through the
process.
motions.
Yes, going
Yeah.
through the motions. So I think that's also it. It takes a lot of work and communication.
Mhm.
Oh, the communication work. But like, oh my gosh.
It
is
is. Communication
so-
can be work because it's
Oh
hard
my
to express
gosh.
yourself.
Yes. Yes.
That's probably, in the communication you communicate with your business, you're
Mhm.
expressing yourself through the making of your jewelry
Mhm.
is like in your flow. But then when you've got to explain that to your husband or to your friends,
Yes.
that's difficult.
It absolutely is. It is because it's a different type of mindset. I mean, there are some times that I'll say, I need to take pictures of this jewelry between the hours of 7 and 8 at night because that's when the lighting is
Right.
best.
Yeah.
In the place where I take where I take the pictures of the jewelry and I'm taking it with my iPhone. And I mean, it's just a whole
It's-
thing.
yeah.
And then it's like, all right, so pretty much 7 to 8.
Mhm.
It's and I think that is where a life coach has helped me because I will be able to. In the past, I don't plan out. I don't plan
Uh-huh.
out this well. I mean, in fact, I knew I was doing this podcast, guys, for the past couple of weeks, and I have been thinking about it so nervous every single day. I mean,
She
so
said she was really.
nervous.
You said you were nervous.
I was
I'm
so
like, about
oh my
what?
gosh, because
We're
you know,
nice.
Because
or
if I had
Leah's.
known it, if I knew it like 30 seconds before, no problem.
Mhm.
Got it.
Don't
Got
let me know,
it.
Yeah. But it's that
Thinking about it
Yes.
drives you crazy.
But you're right. Now it's like I feel very
doing a great
calm.
job.
And you are very. I think you're very expressive, and that again is a challenge for so many people. And so I'm not quite sure why you were nervous about it. Your whole life is about expressing who you are, and but again, speaking it or being in front of a camera or something or a microphone might be daunting.
Sure.
But you don't seem very daunted right now.
Well,
You
these are
seem really
easy
comfortable.
questions. These are easy questions.
Right.
These are good.
It's about you.
This is, you know what this is? This is a conversation. So it's
Right.
like I feel much more comfortable in
Well-
conversation.
Well, if you want
so that
Liz
is-
to ask you about the patriarchy, she
No.
knows.
We're happy to. We could like fire right into it,
I love it. I love it.
But
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons that people listen to us or
Mhm.
really enjoy listening to these conversations are they're looking for a way to find happiness, to find
Mhm.
passion, to find
Mhm.
peace and joy in life. And that's what we try to do on this
Mhm.
podcast
Mhm.
is find your joy, right? Be
Mhm.
your true self. And you're the perfect example of that. You never even opted out of being your true self. And
Well-
that's rare, I think.
Well, that's sweet of you. And I think
I don't think
that
that's sweet of me. I think that's honest of me.
She's not that sweet, Erin.
No, but I mean, like, I think though that it also comes with letting go for me of perfection. I mean, I really think that's the way.
Was that a struggle ever?
I never was known as, and I'm not saying this to make y'all say, "Oh, come on," but I never had like an identity when I was growing up as far as the athletic one, the smart one, the pretty one. I mean, I just kind of was able, and I think of this as I was pretty lucky that I could kind of fly under the radar, and no one had those expressions, like the good dresser, that like all of those identities that maybe you're told when you're young. No one really said. I mean, I was just kind of a girl's girl, a guy's girl. You know, I just kind of was able to just be who I am and fly under the radar. And so I think that I was never labeled anything that would make me think, oh my gosh, I've been always told I'm the pretty one. I got to look good today. What am I? You know, it was always just
you're right.
You know,
that's so incredible.
It was never. And I'm okay with that, and it feels good to do that.
So your ego is very, very low. You don't have this ginormous ego. You're good with just good.
Oh, I'm good with good. So if my kids, you know, if I drop off my 3-year-old at daycare and she's not wearing shoes or she has holes in her socks, I'm okay with that. You know, the other day I, you know, just picked up some ice cream before the bus stop, which I never do, but I didn't even think it was going to be 45 minutes to the bus. So there I am sitting there with ice cream going up and down my arms. I'm talking to the other moms. I'm ice cream stains all over my shorts and t-shirts, and it didn't even faze me. You know, I'm not.
I bet your daughter was like, "Mom,
she's
you
like,
could have gotten this a little closer
please.
to time."
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, they know this about me, which is so funny. They're like, "This is so typical." So I'm okay with showing up and not being perfect, showing up with not the right outfit or not.
And people love you anyway, right? I think
especially.
Oh my gosh. Well, and so I mean, I'm okay to make fun of myself. I like making fun of myself, and that's comfortable to me.
And laughing with yourself about yourself.
Absolutely.
That's fun.
Absolutely. So I think for me or for anyone, that is such a hard fear of just not doing something because it has to be perfect.
Right.
And I really know that can be paralyzing. And my sister has a different personality, and she has so many incredible ideas, and she wants to do so many wonderful, you know, she wants to write a children's book and just, you know,
just
travel.
You're like, do it.
Like, do it, Lauren.
Yeah.
But she's got the list planned out and the bullet points of how to get there. And I said, let's just do it.
Well, we've talked about the birth order before, and I'm like youngest by 13 years and 5 years, and you're the oldest by like 5 years. And I just felt free as a bird. And I'm not sure how we can just make sure that our oldest can maybe they're just born that way.
Like
I don't think we really have a lot of control.
She's old. She's just like that too. Everything's very structured.
Do the best we can.
We just do the best we can and hang on, right?
That's exactly right. And what strikes me too is, you know, what a powerful message for women and friends to kind of recognize the freedom that you kind of both are explaining and that you've had, and how without those labels, you felt so much more like yourself.
And don't
like,
we
can we
all
move away from that?
Freedom and joy and peace of thought, you know, not the whole, oh, am I doing it well? Oh, am I doing it right? Oh, who's going to like me for it or not for it? You just create and you find your people.
Yes. And that's it. I think that's exactly it, is finding your people. And I try to surround myself with people that are okay with that and, you know, are going to embrace that and be okay if I, you know, look silly and I'm going to be the first to the punch. I mean, I'm going to be the first to say, hey guys, let me tell you about this story because I'm just not on my, you know, I got a lot going on. And that's, and I think that, and honestly, again, like for the jewelry and for my business, that has been one aspect of my business that has been really enjoyable for me. Like I feel as though the jewelry is just it's almost like a vehicle or an access point to be able to see other women, men and women's vulnerability, because they come into my studio and they will, you know, just feel really sometimes down, and it could be anyone from all different walks of life. You could just tell they walk in and it's like, I'm going to this event or I need a gift.
Yeah.
And it's like, listen, take a breath.
Yeah.
Let's just get real with one another. Let me tell you a little bit about my day.
Yeah.
And I can tell because when they walk up, they see the kids screaming and they see probably like, just a mess outside. They can tell, all right, I'm in a safe place. I'm okay to kind of let my guard down a little bit. This girl clearly is not going to be laughing at me because she's laughing at herself. And they, and I think it's like all of a sudden they'll kind of say, oh, this is what I'm feeling. Or,
you allow that.
Oh
you have an
gosh.
openness that allows that.
I mean, I had a woman in there the other day. She just was, she just got a divorce and she's like, I'm going out on a date and I don't even know who I am anymore. Like, I just want to step outside the box and I want something. It's not going to be my typical. And oh my gosh, she looked like $1 million.
Isn't that great?
She had kind of some
love
edgy
that.
earrings.
Yes.
And so I think for me, it's been such a great way to meet people in the community, get to know other men and women, and it's been fun that way. And it's just been like that jewelry, like the whole business just gives me a way to grow.
That reminds me of what we talked about on one of the podcasts back about what you wear and what you put on your body.
Exactly.
It can totally turn your attitude around. And so when people say, oh, I'm not fashionable or whatever, whatever you're doing that day, whatever we're wearing right now, we're showing who we are, right?
Yes.
And they put on this great pair of earrings you have and they look in the mirror and they go,
yes.
wow.
I'm feeling myself.
I kind of feel
exactly.
myself.
And it's so true. I mean, I will say on those days that I'm feeling just like, oh my gosh, I can't even get out of my black stretch pants. I don't feel great. I just don't feel that great. The days that I step it up a little notch, you really do.
Put on those pants that zip and button.
Yes. Oh, we are feeling good, ladies.
Yeah.
And I like it because there are some days that I say, oh, I really feel like wearing a black leather studded jacket.
Right.
Kind of just take on a little new persona. You're still your person, but it feels good to exloor and be curious and grow and say, let's just get out of the box a little bit.
Yeah. When we went for our photo shoot for the rebranding of the podcast, she took her clothes. I took my clothes. I had all this black leather and I just bought this great jacket in New York and it was killer. And I was like, I don't know if we want to come off this hard. She started whipping out my leather and I put on my, we both had on my leather. Go. And we sat there and we were like, and we're owning it.
Yes.
And that's the shot we used.
Yes.
I mean, I feel like we all had that in ourselves. That we've just been told to quiet it down for such a long time.
Yeah, don't be small. We've all been told be smaller, be quieter, be less.
Yes.
As women, I think as women, certainly men are never told that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then a lot of times you get into a relationship or a friend group and you're like, this is the person that I play in this.
Exactly.
This is the person that I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be the carpool mom, or I'm supposed to be this, and this is what this person would wear. No. Shake it up, and that is what's fun because you can at any point, you know. I mean, it's at any
That's
point.
exactly right.
And your people, whoever those are, people we all try to surround ourselves with, are going to say, I like it. Good for you. And if you don't like it,
and if they don't like it, they might not
be
your people.
Exactly.
That's exactly right.
It's
what your energy.
Yeah, I just realized, on film, it's like, she's drinking a lot.
Just water. Okay, I want to ask you about you. I've noticed that you've been doing a lot of good too. You helped raise $10,000 for Ukraine, and you're doing every month a new charity. So tell me all about it.
Yes.
Well, that definitely came out of a surprise. I had a woman reach out to me. Her name's Shauna, and she asked if I could create a bracelet bundle. She lives in Prague, and she said, could you just create a bracelet bundle? I think she found me maybe just through Instagram. So she used to live in Charlotte. So she has a lot of friends in Charlotte, and her family now lives in Prague, and she wanted to purchase a bracelet just bundle because she was there. And I asked a little bit more about her story, and one thing led to another, and I said, let's go ahead and create a special bracelet, and we can sell it online for $20, and 100% of the proceeds will go to the refugees.
100%.
Coming from Ukraine. And so her family had been housing several of these men and women who were, having to leave their families. And And then she also, her husband's a pastor at a church there. So several people in the church had hotels and hostels that they were opening up their doors. And they just, I thought, let's raise some money for a bed for the night. It was $22 and internet. And just, these, all of these families from Ukraine, these are incredible people. These are, they all were working.
They were all
moms.
doing what we're doing.
Exactly.
And now they've got themselves stuck in a war that they didn't ask for.
Absolutely.
It's hard to believe. It's so hard to get your mind around, isn't it?
It is. It really is. And I loved hearing her story. And I just said on Instagram stories, I said, all right. And I said exactly what I just said to y'all. I said, let's do this. And all of a sudden I thought maybe I'll be making like 10 bracelets because I hand beat each one. We hit $1,000.
Oh,
and I thought I was back on there on Instagram on stories, and I said, "Y'all, we are at $1,000. Let's try to do $2,000. Let's try to do $3,000."
That's a lot of hand beating too.
Y'all,
do you need help?
I did. I've
Not
done
that I'd
them
be
all.
good at it.
I've done a lot of late nights, but it felt good to do it.
Of
and
course.
so we raised $10,000, and then we raised another $1,000 just last Monday because I saw her. She came to visit the States, and she said, internet would be great. So I'm like an hour we're at another, and so it felt great. Like selfishly, it
of
felt
course,
for
so
your talent to go
good.
directly to families that you knew where they were going. How wonderful.
Absolutely. And it was, it really selfishly felt so good to me.
Sure.
I felt like it was like Christmas morning. I was so excited.
Did you get them to, like, the people that got the gifts? Did they reach out and have pictures?
Yes, and we have pictures of them wearing it. And so I thought this just felt so good, and I loved. Instagram, it can be such a love-hate. And I think that it's taken me a long time to understand, all right, what's my relationship going to be like with this? And that has ebbed and flowed. But I've been grateful that the community that I've created on Instagram, I think we're all very like-minded, and we all just, I think, really, I would say it really is a great community, and I feel very connected to everyone. Probably because I'm on there all the time talking and sharing everything. But I thought, how can we do this again? So every month we're going to pick a different organization or nonprofit and make a special bracelet with a little heart in there. Each one will be a little bit different, and then donate 100% of the proceeds to that nonprofit. And it's been awesome. Yes,
that's fantastic.
We may have one for you in September.
Yes.
Oh St. Jude, baby.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
No, we're gonna do a big deal.
All that. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
September. I love it. Let's do it.
That's when we did the run, and you raised 100.
When you said that, the feeling you get,
and
knowing that people are giving so selflessly and so willing to, and
the people that have those resources, like a St. Jude, or even if it's a woman who's housing people, those people are doing the right thing. St. Jude is in all over the Ukraine right now to help getting kids out of there, getting full families out of there, treating kids with cancer.
Yeah.
It's just amazing,
It is.
There's goodness to be done, and that's why social media and we're the Instagram. I think you kind of pick your media.
Absolutely.
And we're Instagram too. And you can really make a good thing difference
and
on
I think that everyone, that connection, both of you have that personal connection with St. Jude, and that just makes it easier for the rest of us to connect, because you have been there, you've experienced it, you've seen it, you've gone through, a lot. And I think that we trust you to trust that you're making the right
donation.
And it is about trust.
Easier to give. And I love and I think that was what was so great about Shauna. It was that personal connection where it wasn't just, where is it going?
Pick one.
So
we have no idea.
Somebody directly. That is so great. Well, wow.
I know. And that kind of makes me think too about, you're doing this business because it's just ingrained in your life. You started in high school, did it through college. You started this business. And of course it feels good to be financially successful. But I would imagine that when you do something like that, that's really what success
is. Yes.
Yeah. I didn't ask, and I was going to when you were talking about your parents and your dad played on the subways. I would guess you were not mega wealthy people growing up. I have no idea. No idea. I mean, you hear things like South of France, you're like, wow. But I think you all just did what was creative and what moved you, and that made you the richest people ever.
Absolutely.
Right?
Oh my gosh, you could not have said it better. And we had a great life. I mean, it was upper class. My dad's a lawyer in Hampton, Virginia. My mom is a French teacher. And so we always had everything we needed. I didn't know any differently. Like I didn't know different clothing labels. I didn't know different hotels. I mean, when I started going, when I went to UVA, I asked my mom about, should I join a sorority? She said, what's a sorority? I mean, she really didn't even know what a sorority was. I
love that.
And I mean, and it really is, it's like, well, if you feel
Did you join a sorority?
I didn't end up joining a sorority. A long story about that one, which I'll tell you all individually. But so I think that I learned happiness really does come in so many different ways. It's that feeling of being able to be true to yourself and have the ability to make your own choices every day and be okay with those choices, and just to surround yourself by a community who loves you and appreciates you for who you are. And it's really in your mind. I mean, I'm the one that's going to create it, and just to intuitively just try to make choices to continue to get there, and to just constantly be growing and changing. And that mindset is what I think when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, what's going to be there? What's going to be in store for today?
Yes.
What's next?
And you're and listening, and when you said intuitive, just listening to you, and what you just described to me was freedom.
Absolutely,
freedom and joy.
I love that.
I do too. You are such a bright sunshine, breath of fresh air.
Ditto.
It's just a joy to be around you, isn't it?
I know. It really is. And that's why we first came to you to see if you would join us here, and I'm glad you did. And I've learned so much more about you.
Yeah, I didn't know any of this. Yes, and I hope that we can be in your circle, because we're kind of we're honing in here.
Drum. That's right.
That's exactly right.
No,
all our unique friends. That's fun. So everybody can find you on Instagram.
Absolutely.
Erin McDermott.
On Instagram, Erin McDermott 1, and my website is erinmcdermott.com.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Oh, and we're moving, and I'm going to have a new studio. So if you are in Charlotte, please contact me, and I would love to meet you personally. You can come up to the studio and shop, just say hi, just tell me what's on your mind.
I can't wait.
That's
Let me
so
know if you have a big
fun.
hug. Yes, exactly.
That's so fun. Well, you have an amazing business. You have an amazing
thank
family.
you.
You're an amazing person, and we're just grateful to know you.
So grateful. Grateful to see you today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Erin. Thanks for listening to us today, wherever you get your podcasts. And remember, you can now find our podcast on YouTube.
Yeah. If you liked it, please share, rate, and review. We love 5 stars. And we hope you'll work out with us online or in studio at HilliardStudioMethod.com.